What is going on, everybody? It is the Tuesday edition of the PrizePicks Prop Show here at FTNFantasy.com. My name is Zach Graham, aka Kawaisenberg DFS, ready to dive into tonight's three-game slate of NBA playoff action. Not a bad night last night. Great finish there in Denver, at least if you're a Nuggets fan. Two-game winners in one series, especially a series that only went 5 games on a hobbled leg. Obviously, the Lakers hobbled on the other side as well with Anthony Davis, his shoulder, LeBron rolling his ankle at the end. So an unfortunate ending, I think, obviously, for any Bron fans out there, Lakers fans. But the Nuggets move on and now give us probably the most exciting series in the second round, at least how it's setting up right now between the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. About that, we're here to talk about some of the props here on PrizePicks, on Underdog today, on Sleeper. And before we talk about some of those picks, just want to remind you, if you haven't signed up for any of those sites yet, you can use the promo code FTN at all 3 sites. At PrizePicks, it's going to get you a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100. You'll get that same deposit match bonus over at Underdog Fantasy. So if you haven't signed up yet with Underdog, scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. Again, promo code FTN at sign up will get you that deposit match bonus. And then if you download the Sleeper app, you can use that same promo code and your deposit match bonus will be up to $500 over at Sleeper. So take advantage of all of those offers if you haven't signed up yet, because you always should be taking the free cash that these sites are handing out for you to sign up. And then you head over to FTN Fantasy. Again, VIP Plus subscription, $299.99 for the whole year, gives you access to all of our tools, all of our models, advanced stats, and access to all 3 of our Discord servers, where you can join the Pick'em Games channel there in the FTN Daily Discord and get access to the other picks, because I just went 2-2 here yesterday, but you can see that record. Alex Blickel came in hot yesterday. Chris Meany, Kenneth Lee were up well above 63% here as a team using that PrizePicks prop tool here at FTN Fantasy. So come join us. Again, just $299.99 for the year. It's less than $25 a month. One of the better values, if not the best value in the industry. And I'll leave the site promotion in the rear view here. Let's talk about some of these picks. And again, a reminder, if you're tuning in live, jump in that YouTube chat here at the FTN YouTube channel. Ask me some questions. We can certainly talk through some props that you may have your eye on. And the one that I want to start with today is here in Cleveland and Orlando, which I think this is going to be an amazing environment tonight with this series tied 2-2. Road team has not got a victory yet in this one. And the first prop I'm looking at, I've got a couple that I've got my eye on here. Of course, series shifting back to Cleveland, where the Cavs are 5-point home favorites, 201.5 total here. And I'm looking at Max Strus. His points prop is set at 8.5 here on PrizePicks tonight and over at Underdog. Strus back to a significant role now that the playoffs have begun. Obviously, he had that extended absence there late in the regular season. I think we've seen him struggle to kind of get his legs under him in this series, at least through the first 4 game series. Just 10 of 26 from the field and just 3 of 17 from 3. But what I'm focused on here is the minutes, right? Talking about that role that he's got in this Cavaliers rotation headed back home here tonight. And that's been pretty consistent. Of course, all of the starters lost time in the blowout in games 3 and 4, both blowouts down there in Orlando. But in competitive games, I think we should continue to expect mid-30s in minutes out of Max Strus, of course, barring injury or foul trouble or blowout. Career 36.5% three-point shooter, though, so I expect him to start knocking down some shots at some point. And that points prop, with the lack of success that we've seen out of Strus so far in this series, that points prop, again, down to 8.5, and I just can't pass that up. FTN data model backs up my thinking there. Got him for a hair over 11.5 points here at home tonight in Game 5. So I'm going to lock that in as our first pick of the morning. Max Strus, more than 8.5 points tonight in Game 5. And then I want to stay in this game because I've got my eye on Paolo Banchero and a more than selection on his rebound prop of 6.5. Now, we can just go through this one very quickly because I did see that I believe Underdog juiced this prop. So I think a 0.9 multiplier on the more than 6.5 rebounds. And PrizePicks literally just before we went live took this one off the board. But if you can find a 6.5 line on Paolo's rebounds here tonight, I think you should take it. And if we get that reposted at 7, I would certainly be considering it as well. Paolo, 6.9 rebounds per game this season in 35 minutes a game. Obviously, it's not a strong matchup against this Cavs front court, but Banchero also played 41 minutes in each of the first 2 games of this series in Cleveland, averaged 7 rebounds per game through the 4 games in this series. And of course, that includes the 2 blowout wins at home where he played just 29 minutes in each of those home games. So the data model has him right at 8 rebounds right now. Again, we know the ceiling is higher, 14 boards for Paolo in that game 2 loss about a week ago. So again, just keep your eye on that board and see if that gets reposted, because I do like it. And I don't hate taking the 0.9 prop over there on UD, especially if you've got, a spicy prop in there that's going to get you that boosted payout and kind of flatten things out there. But let's go to the nightcap here. And this is still on the board. Both of these props that I'm looking at here from Brook Lopez. The Bucks, of course, facing elimination tonight at the hands of the Pacers and likely going to be without Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. Once again, both of those guys are listed as doubtful. So again, if you see either of those guys pop up with an upgrade, like maybe you get Dame upgraded to questionable here, try to be quick on the trigger and go grab maybe some unders on a guy like Brook Lopez, a Chris Middleton, a Bobby Portis, because of course those props are as they should be, elevated a little bit across the board here for the shorthanded Bucks team we think we're going to get here tonight. I think some of these lines, if we do see no Dame, no Giannis, are still pretty advantageous, even though they have been boosted up. Like Brook Lopez, points prop set at 15.5. The FTN data model is absolutely in love with a more than selection here. Lopez took, this might be putting it nicely, a back seat this year in Milwaukee. Just a 16% usage rate during the regular season. That's the lowest mark of his 16-year career. But with those absences, we expect here for the Bucks tonight, I think more minutes and more usage, certainly in the cards. And now FTN data model has him in for 38 minutes tonight. I could see taking a minute or 2 off there, if you're running your own projections, because Bobby Portis was ejected last game. That left more front court minutes available, or that I should say needed to be filled. So I'm not surprised if that, 38, 39 minutes that we maybe don't get there, come up a little bit short. But I still think that Brook Lopez, 15.5 points here. He's found some success against this Pacers team, both in this series and in the regular season. 16 or more points in 5 of the 9 meetings if we combine the regular season, the play-in tournament, and this first round. Again, 16 or more in 5 of those 9 meetings, averaged just 12.5 points per game on the season as a whole. And he's taken double-digit shots in all 4 games of this series. So Damian Lillard or not, Bobby Portis or not. So the data model loves the Brook Lopez more than 15.5 points there, coming up just short of 20 points in the model. So again, if you take a minute or 2 off of the minutes projections in the model, I don't think that Brook Lopez is going to lose almost 5 points, which is the almost the gap there between the data model's projection and this prop set at 15.5 here on PrizePicks. But I think we can get a little bit spicier here, and we don't have the demons integrated into the PrizePicks prop tool. But Brook Lopez has taken, or rather, the FTN data model has Brook Lopez for 3.11 made threes tonight, and it's Taco Tuesday. We've got a Jarrett Allen points prop discounted on the board right now for the next few hours. So if you want to maybe get, and again, I'm all about the 6-pick plays. That's what we like to do here at FTN Fantasy. If you want to get that potential payout up to 38x on PrizePicks, then this is my favorite demon on the board as of this morning, more than 2.5 made threes for Brook Lopez. He's been over that number in 2 of the 4 games this series, and he made 3 or more threes in 27% of his regular season appearances this year. Again, with the lowest usage rate of his career, and certainly more to go around here tonight if Lillard and Giannis both miss as we expect them to. So I feel a little bit safer with the Lopez more than 15.5 points prop. But if you want that boosted payout, that's my favorite demon on the board. So that's what I'm going to put in to my Jarrett Allen taco entry here, that Brook Lopez demon pick. But then let's move over to the fantasy scoreboard because, of course, my bread and butter here, that Derek White finally came through for us last night in a big way. He was over that 26.5 number with 3 minutes to go in the first half. So that one felt good to finally get Derek White over that number in a comfortable fashion. And let's stay here as we move to the fantasy scoreboard at PrizePicks. Let's stay in the Bucks and Pacers game. And let's start with Andrew Nembhard. Fantasy score prop set at 21.5 this morning. And he's been fantastic over the last 3 games of this series, going 20 of 30 from the floor, 7 of 13 from 3. I certainly don't expect Nembhard to keep up that type of efficiency, but you check out the minutes. Rick Carlisle is getting more and more confident in Nembhard as this series progresses. He's gone from 30 to 32 to 40, but 35 in regulation in the OT game, to 38 last time out. And so this line is a little bit too low. I'm willing to go back to the well here on Andrew Nembhard if he's going to play mid to upper 30s in minutes. FTN data model has him for close to 24.5. PrizePicks fantasy score here on the morning run. So I'm going to lock in a more than selection on Andrew Nembhard, 21.5 fantasy score as well. And then we can look, again, staying in this game, looking to the other side, Chris Middleton, another one of those guys that stands to benefit greatly from the absences of Lillard and Antetokounmpo. His fantasy point score, or his fantasy score line rather, set at 43.5 here this morning at PrizePicks. And Middleton in and out of game 4 a little bit after rolling his ankle early in that one, still ended up playing 39.5 minutes. So I think there's a little bit higher ceiling on his minutes allocation here tonight than that. And he got 43.5 right on that number. That was his PrizePicks fantasy score in game 4. It was a team high 33% usage. So again, just like we talked about with Brook Lopez, Portis is going to be back after the early ejection last game, which could ding the usage a bit here for Middleton, but I don't think it should be by much because Middleton has always been a fantasy monster when missing Giannis and whichever all-star caliber point guard is on the roster at that time, whether it's Drew Holiday or Damian Lillard this year. And this year, he posted a 36.5% usage rate and 1.34 PrizePicks fantasy score points per minute. It's a 300-minute sample size without Giannis and Dame this year. So FTN data model has Chris Middleton at 46 fantasy score tonight here on PrizePicks. So I want to lock that in as my final pick of the stream. And also, again, like I talk about on every stream here on the PrizePicks Prop Show, once you join up here at FTN Fantasy, you get access to that Pick'em Games channel. And it's not just to get Alex Blickel's picks here today, or Kenneth Lee's, or Chris Meany when he drops his in. I see, as I've been live here, we just got a 6-pick play put in there from Kenneth Lee. So I'm going to be taking a closer look at that. One other thing we're going to discuss in that channel later on today is the rest of the fantasy scoreboard, which hasn't populated yet. We don't have the other 2 games last I looked. I guess I've got the technology here. We could see if they've put any other games. And there, Philly and New York has popped. Cleveland and Orlando has popped. So let's extend this stream just for a few more minutes because we can talk through anything that we see here. Just at first glance, looking at Philly and New York. And again, this is just my eye test. I can pull up my other tab here where I've got our NBA fantasy score projections. Let me navigate back there. And just to the eye test here, now we've got Jarrett Allen listed questionable. Rib injury that just came across on the 12:30 injury report. I would think he goes, but we'll see. That is certainly something to monitor there, as Jarrett Allen is the current taco on the board here at PrizePicks with the discounted points prop. But getting back to Philly and New York here in terms of those fantasy score props, Maxey at 40.5. That looks ripe for a more than selection for me here. The FTN data model doesn't see that as an advantageous prop at this point. So we'll stay away from that. And I can just filter here for this game. I don't think we're going to see anything on this board. It's like in a Josh Hart less than selection. His prop is set at 39. We've got him projected for a hair under 37 here. It's tough for me to take a less than on Josh Hart right now, just considering he doesn't really come out of the game. You saw him did not contribute offensively last time out, but like 16 or 17 boards. So I think that's probably a stay away for me here. Yeah, let's move to that Orlando game because I know I have my eye, and I think, yeah, this is Max Strus 20.5 fantasy score. I like that just as much, if not more, than that 8.5 points prop we talked about. FTN data model, a hair over 25 PrizePicks fantasy score for Strus. So you've got a decent amount of buffer there. Wendell Carter, John Isaac, Paolo Banchero at 37 flat. I think since they took the rebounds prop off just before we went live, I am going to change this now because we have it on the board. Give me the more than 37 fantasy score on Paolo Banchero. That certainly stands out to the eye test. And then you look at the FTN data model, and we get to Paolo Banchero right around 40.5 fantasy score. So we will sub that in for the Paolo Banchero rebounds prop that is juiced at underdog and off the board now at PrizePicks. And there you go. Who's spying on us? Max Strus fantasy score off the board already, as well as the rest of the Cavs. So no spies here, everybody. Just a Jarrett Allen questionable tag. So the only Cavs prop on the board looks like it is now just that Jarrett Allen taco. So again, Paolo Banchero, will add that to the list. So Banchero, more than 37 fantasy score. Chris Middleton, more than 43.5 fantasy score. Andrew Nembhard, more than 21.5 fantasy score. And then Max Strus, more than 8.5 points. And if he comes back with 20.5 fantasy score, you can also count on that one as a strong more than selection here this morning. And again, Paolo Banchero, more than 37 fantasy score. So I appreciate you all tuning in, sticking with me here on the Tuesday edition of the PrizePicks Prop Show here at FTN Fantasy. Whether you caught it live or on the replay, and you can find me on Twitter at Kawaisenberg DFS or all day, every day in that Pick'em Games channel of the FTN Fantasy Discord. I'm back tomorrow, same time, same place, breaking down the board for the Wednesday slate of NBA games. I will see you all then. And of course, good luck tonight, everybody.